You're listening to Cat Tales.
Hi, you're listening to Cat Tales, and I'm Cat. Once the biggest selling girl group in the world, the Nolan Sisters performed in stadiums internationally, were the opening act for Frank Sinatra, sold over 30 million records, and even won the Japanese equivalent of a Grammy. It wasn't all a bed of roses though, as Anne, the eldest of the siblings, reveals. Suddenly unable to secure any bookings, success came to a stop with a jolt, and 9-to-5 working came calling. But Anne Nolan is a survivor. She's battled cancer, a marriage breakup, sexual abuse, and being shunned by her sisters who went on tour without her, yet she remains defiantly upbeat. This is the one with Anne Nolan.
Hi there, Anne. It's been a while since I saw you, which is quite a few years ago now, isn't it?
Was that at Pinewood?
It was, yeah.
Pinewood, yeah.
The legendary Pinewood.
Yeah.
It's a lovely place, isn't it?
Yeah, fabulous, gorgeous. Yeah.
And that was with Gary Curtis, wasn't it? It was a charity single that you were doing at the time. And you actually do quite a lot with charity, don't you?
Myself and my sisters, whenever we're asked to do charity, we always do them. And we never charge for charity either, because I don't see the point. Unless, of course, the only reason I would ever charge for doing anything for charity is if it was going to cost me money, and then I'd ask them to pay our expenses.
Sure.
That's the only thing.
Oh, crikey, yes,
absolutely. Because we're not wealthy. If we were wealthy, if I was somebody like, I don't know, Victoria Beckham, obviously, I wouldn't ask for anything.
No.
But, sometimes you think, well, yes, I'd love to do it. I don't want a fee, but you'd have to pay my. For example, I was going to do one down in Torquay once for I can't remember what it was, either breast cancer or Alzheimer's, and I said, yes, I'd love to do it. I'll come down, but you'll have to put me up overnight. I said I can't afford to come down for the weekend, and they said, oh, well, that's fine. We'll put you up. And then I thought, this is ridiculous, really. I'm going all the way down there. It's going to cost them money to do it. And in actual fact, I could probably get somebody from their area who's probably as well known as I am, or I was, and it wouldn't cost them anything, So anyway, that's what we ended up doing. I suggested that to them, and they said, okay, we'll try that then.
With the charities, you have to think of the bigger picture, don't you, I suppose?
Yeah. I mean, I hate taking money from them, because obviously whenever I do anything local, or even like as far as Birmingham, I would never take any money I'd never take a fee in any case. Just expenses if I needed to, that was all.
And I think this is the thing, isn't it? People think, well, do you know what? Anne's had 55 years in the music industry, massive hits, etc. She must be absolutely loaded. But it doesn't work like that, does it?
Not the case, I'm afraid.
No, it doesn't work like that.
It's not the case, I'm afraid. No, I'd love it to be the case, but it's not. We had an amazing career, obviously. And we did lots of things that we'd never been able to do had we had a normal sort of everyday job. Yeah. Because, as I say, because we weren't wealthy, the only way we got to do the things we did was through singing and through people paying to hear us sing. Travel the world, met amazing people, all of that.
The thing is, though, that a lot of people don't realise that the music industry at that time was actually quite ruthless, wasn't it? And you had all these layers of people. You had management, and then you had the tour people, then you had the company behind it, the PR people, everybody doing their little bit, grabbing all their little bits of money. And, what you ended up with at the end of the day was actually quite small.
And in actual fact, I think it was worse then. And also, because at one point I remember we were asked to go to America with, I think it was Sony or CBS, and the British part of that company wanted us to go under their steam, if you like, and the Americans said, no, they'll come and we'll sort it all out. Anyway, they couldn't agree, and we ended up never going.
Oh, dear.
We did actually work in New York once, but that was not through the record company, that was just through an agency. But we never actually got there with our records or anything, because they just couldn't agree on how they were going to do it.
Oh, I bet that was so frustrating for you. I bet you were chomping at the bit at the time, because you're on a trajectory, aren't you, upwards, and you're thinking, you just want to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, crikey, bless you. So what was it really like then? Come on, give us the inside scoop of what it was like being part of the Nolans, because they were so huge that actually it was the first iconic female band, wasn't it? First girl power band.
It was really, yeah. I suppose it was. I mean, we never thought about it, and we never just think about it now. Just people always coming up to us and saying, well, you were the first, girl group and all that. And I think the fact that we were sisters as well was an added attraction, Most of the girl groups are all, from different families, but the fact that we were all from one family kind of made it even more interesting, I guess, for people. It was fantastic. Like I say, we went to all over the world, Russia, Japan, America, all over Europe, toured with our idol, Frank Sinatra. We'd never have even met Frank Sinatra, apart from the fact that we were working with him.
Amazing.
So all of those things, and seeing all these amazing countries and amazing people that we met, and it was all through just being able to sing, really. Whether you liked us or not, I think we could sing.
Oh, yeah.
People hated us and people liked us. It was just, that's the thing with show business, isn't it? It's all a matter of people's opinions, isn't it? It's what you like and what you don't like. Whereas with sport, I guess, like football or tennis or golf, to be the best, you have to win. In show business, you don't have to be the best. You just have to be liked by a certain amount of people, really.
Yeah, that's right. It's almost like how popular you are, isn't it? But what governs that popularity is amazing, isn't it? Because it's different for everybody. It's a bit like art, any art, actually, and that's exactly what you're talking about with music, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's just people's, how things they like, for example, my best friend's daughter loves Picasso, and I can look at Picasso and I do not get it at all. I mean, it makes me sound shocking, but I just don't get it. I just don't get Picasso, because to me it's just a load of colours splashed onto a board.
I'm with you,
so
actually,
I think
Anne.
that's the same with music. I think it's the same. It's just people hear things and think, oh, even in our family, we can play something and one of us will go, oh, I love that, and somebody else will go, oh my God, it's rubbish. How could you like that? And that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
really.
And do you know what? I expect it to be really quite difficult when you were all sort of like in the band together, like six sisters going, oh, actually, I don't like that song. Should we release that one? Or, oh, no, not that one. How did it all work? Was it just dictated to you by the record industry, or did you have a choice?
When we were making records, not really. We didn't really have a choice. They told us what we were recording and we recorded it. Our very first album, which was called 20 Giant Hits, was a cover album. And that was our first album. It got to number 3 in the charts. It was television. It was advertised on TV. We had a say in that. We chose a lot of the songs on that because we were, it was 20 Giant Hits. They had to be hits, obviously, for a start. But we were able to kind of choose a few of the songs. I mean, they said, we'd like you to do this. And if we said no, we'd say, we'd like to do this instead. And that was nice, being able to do that. And a lot of the songs on that are really, really good songs. But as regards our singles and that, and a lot of our albums after that, the record company chose most of the music for those.
Yeah, and what good choices?
I mean, I guess if we'd really said, I hate this and really don't want to do this, I don't know. We never did, but I reckon maybe if we did, they might have been a little bit more lenient, but I don't know now because, we just went ahead and did it.
Yeah, and when you're young, you just do what you are sort of like conducted to do, aren't you, with the professional suggesting
when you're
stuff?
signed by a record company and you're so want to do that, you just go with the flow and just hope that they know what they're talking about. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't,
I know.
But it's completely different nowadays with YouTube and all that stuff on, downloading. And I mean, in our day, we had to sell an awful lot of records to get in the charts.
Well, this is it. It's so different, isn't it, really? Because there is no sort of charts as there were in those days. So in one respect, it's worse because people cannot get the same sort of like commercial recognition. But on the other hand, they can get social recognition, can't they, because of the social networks? Yeah,
that's right. And I mean, that's huge as well now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like... Yeah, it's like all the reality shows, on YouTubers and all that. I mean, my grandson's only 10, but he constantly watching YouTubers, and I'll say, who's that? And you know all their names, and, and they're massive, some of them, so popular. Yeah, even on Instagram, you can get all these amazing, I mean, I find it incredible, actually, that somebody can just go on to a social media network and in like 5 or 6 days is like known all over the world and earning pockets of money and everything. It's incredible, really.
It is, and in a way, it's sort of, I don't know, it feels to me a little bit more, not just bizarre, but it's almost repulsive in a way, because they have not necessarily, I'm not saying all of them before everybody gets honours here, but they haven't necessarily got the same kind of talent that it was when you were producing your music that you needed to succeed in those days.
Yeah, I think talent now is, people have a different idea of what talent is. I mean, to be a YouTuber and to do what they do, they have a talent. That is a talent, because I don't think I could do it. I wouldn't know where to start, you know. And a lot of them are so young as well. So in a way, that is a talent. But I think the way our generation think of talent, we always think of it, it's either somebody who can sing or dance or act or tell jokes, you know, or do magic. It's not somebody who just sits there and talks about, you know, their everyday life. You know what I mean?
I do.
But,
I do.
But on the other hand, for them it is a talent, because, like I say, I don't think I could do it. I wouldn't know where to start.
Yes. So I suppose looking at it like that, it is true, isn't it? I suppose it's different things for different eras of time, I guess, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
So, you know, you've been very fortunate, though, to have 55 years in an industry that is quite ruthless, let's be honest. It can be ruthless. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you've maintained your success by being a little bit of a chameleon. You've gone into, you know, your panto, you've done books, you've continued with your music career. Has that been a struggle, or has it just sort of like naturally flowed?
It's just progressed, really. You know, when we stopped working as a group, when the work started dying out a bit, we all kind of diversified, and four of my sisters went into acting. They all appeared in the lead role in Blood Brothers in the West. In fact, they're actually in the Guinness Book of Records for the only four siblings ever to have played the lead role, the same role, in a West End play.
Wow.
So so they're in the Guinness Book of Records for that. And so they did serious acting. I mean, I did pantomime, which it's hard work, you know, and it's acting to a degree, I suppose. You know, you can get away with a lot in pantomime that you couldn't get away with in a straight play or a musical, you know, an authentic musical. So I have done a play, a straight play, which it was a musical actually. It was based on Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that. But when our work started to sort of die out a little bit, and as I say, my sisters all went into different things, I actually ended up getting a day job. And I got it mainly because I had two kids, and my husband had left me, and I needed stability. I needed money coming in every month. And, you know, when show business is so precarious, one week you're masses of money and the next month you've got nothing, you know. So I couldn't work like that any longer. So I got a day job, and I worked 3 days a week. Well, I worked 5 days a week, and then I cut it down to 3 days a week. And it was fabulous, because every month I knew my bills were going to be paid, and, you know, I didn't have to worry about that. And then also the good side of that was I could still sing and do lots of shows. You know, I did quite a few shows on my own, still did panto, but I could pick and choose when I wanted to do it, you know, so that was ideal, really.
Yeah, which is lovely.
I had the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Did you find that a difficult adjustment, though? Because at one stage, you know, you're going all over the world, from Japan to Europe, America, over here, and then suddenly you're doing a day job, as you call it. You know, was that a hard adjustment? I think I'd struggle.
It was scary, to be honest with you, because I had no academic qualifications, really. You know, I mean, I left school when I was about 14. Yeah. I didn't take any GCSEs, as they were at the time, or CSEs, or whatever they called. So I had no real qualifications to do anything. But I think when I went for the interview, I told them about my background, what I had done in the business. Like, I used to book the band and the hotels and arrange the travel. So I kind of had that kind of background, and I just told them all that. And miraculously, I got this job. And I've been in it now, I think it's 13 years now.
Terrific.
And it was very, very scary. I mean, I had literally never turned on a computer in my life before, and my first thing when I got there was, she said, "Okay, let's turn your computer on." And I had to turn to her and go, "I'm really sorry, but I don't know how to turn it on." Oh. And she looked at me as if I was mad. But that was the truth. I literally did not know how to turn this computer on. I'd never had a computer in my life.
Yeah.
anyway, so I just learned, and like I said, I've been there 13 years now, and it's my stability every month, and even, people say to me, well, would you give it up if this came along or this came along? And I said, I would only give it up if something came along that I knew was going to last longer than a year.
Yeah.
Because like I said before, in show business, you can get a fantastic gig and that lasts for 6 months, and then after that you think, I'll probably get some more after that, but there's no guarantees that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'd only ever give up my job if I knew something was going to be lucrative enough to give it up for, really.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? But at the same time, being such a creative person, you've got to have that creative outlet continually, haven't you, as well?
Yeah,
So hence the fact you're still singing, and you've done your autobiography, and you do your panto. How do you let that sort of creativity flow?
Gosh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think because we have been, our lives were show business. We were in show business from the time, my first professional gig was when I was 12. And that's all I ever did my whole life, apart from the job that I got 13 years ago. And so to us, it's just a natural thing. It just singing just came naturally to us. It wasn't anything we had to work at. We never had singing lessons. It was just, I don't know, just born inside us, I think, and we were lucky that people liked what we did. But yeah, even though I love my other job, I always have to do something else. Like I've gone into learning the guitar, but then I gave it up. I had piano lessons, gave that up. And I love to sing. When I'm with my sisters, we sing all the time, at home. When we get together, we just all of a sudden just break into harmonies and stuff. And we've just, I don't know if you know this, but we've just done a cruise, like a fly on the wall type cruise.
Yeah.
The four of us, myself, Colleen, Linda and Maureen. And we went on a cruise for 2 weeks, and we were filmed for the whole 2 weeks, and it's coming out in July on TV. It's an 8-week series, I think.
I was going to ask you about that because I saw that and I thought, wow, that's an interesting take on it all, and to see what your experience of that was, and the sort of like showbiz of a confined space in a way, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, before we went, we were thinking, oh my God, are we going to last for 2 weeks altogether? But luckily, we all had our own beautiful cabins on the ship. It was gorgeous. And then we had a day where 2 of us went somewhere and 2 of us stayed on the ship, and the next day we would alternate. And then there were days when the 4 of us did things together, and we had a marvellous time. We had a great time. And at the end, we sang our hit, one of our hits, our biggest hit. And that was really scary. We were all kind of really nervous about that because we hadn't sung together for quite a long time,
Yeah.
Sisters did the tour, but I didn't do that tour. And then this was the first thing we'd done together since, for years and years and years. Us particular 4 hadn't sung together for years. I mean, we sang at Linda's 60th birthday. My brothers and all the girls, we all sang a song for her birthday.
Aww.
But apart from that, we'd never done anything publicly, really. Yeah, that was really quite nerve-wracking. It was marvellous. We loved it. Fabulous.
Yeah, well, that's great that you feel like that, because with all families, you have all this sort of like fallouts and bickering and stuff, with 6 sisters.
Yeah.
You must have had sort of quite a lot of friction, I think is the word, isn't it? Between you all.
Well, considering really that we were together for, I don't know, 50 odd years or something, and we were together 24/7 at some of those times, like on the tours and everything, we hardly ever had arguments. We'd have little discussions about things, and one of us would disagree with the others, and but we never had massive big fallout arguments ever. We've never had any of them in our lives, really, apart from what happened with the tour, but that's in the past now, and we don't even talk about that. That was not nice when it was there, but it's gone now. It's finished with. But looking back on our career, when I think about it, traveling all over and spending all that time together, and and having to do things that maybe sometimes you didn't want to do, but the others were okay with it. Even insofar as outfits that we had to wear. Like in the beginning, we were told what to wear, and some of them were absolutely horrendous. Some of the clothes we wore on TV. But then when we got to the point where we chose our own outfits, even then we would have discussions, because we're all different shapes, and what suits somebody doesn't suit somebody else. So, but we never fell out or had really massive arguments about it. We discussed it, and we'd agree to disagree really sometimes.
Yeah, off to the best way.
But
isn't
it was
really?
Fantastic considering we were together so long.
Yeah, because it's like a boiling pot, isn't it? Of like, here's a pressure
Yeah.
cooker that's going to explode.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about you all was the fact that your voices all harmonise so beautifully, because obviously you're siblings, and that's what makes it so special, I think. And that was possibly where the sort of like secret of your success may have been.
Possibly. I mean, I think the one good thing about us really was, apart from our harmonising, was when we sang in unison, when we all sang the same notes, it sounded like one voice singing sometimes.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell there was like four people singing, and I think that was because we were siblings. We all had the same accents, and we phrased more or less kind of the same way, and it just, I think I always was really amazed when we sang unison together, because it, like I say, it didn't sound like four voices sometimes.
No, lovely. Yeah, absolutely.
And the harmony thing was easy for us as well, because like I say, when we were kids, we just used to sing. We were never taught harmonies. We used to sing natural harmonies. And even now, if somebody says, even when we sing Happy Birthday to somebody, we usually end up singing it in about 3 or 4 part harmony.
Comes naturally, obviously. What a talent.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that. I wish I could just sing one part, actually, to be honest.
Well, it's incredible. And the funny thing is that none of us play instruments. Even our cousins, all our cousins sing, all our kids sing, my grandchildren sing. All our extended families have all been able to sing. Everyone. I can't think of one person in our family who doesn't sing. But most of us, there's only one of our family that play instruments. That's our family in Ireland. They play guitars and things like that, and pianos. But all the rest of us just sing.
Oh, lovely. Look, I'll tell you what, Anne, bring me up to date with this Anne song, because I've been reading about your autobiography, but you're actually producing a musical on the back of that, aren't you?
Well, it's not. I'm not actually producing it. Actually, my manager is producing it, and he's had it rewritten into like a play, because obviously my book is written as a book.
Yeah.
So he's had it written as a play, and he's had a fabulous songwriter called Terry Bradford, who actually wrote our song for Europe when we did the Eurovision. We didn't do the Eurovision Song Contest. We did the British Song for Europe thing. And he wrote that song, and he's written 22 new songs for this musical. And it was I think workshopped by the one of the universities in London. I can't remember which one it was. And I actually spoke to two of the students, and I said, "What did you think?" And they said, "Oh, we absolutely loved it." It was, I was so pleased, because they were only young, and I thought maybe they won't understand it or anything, but they absolutely loved it. So it hasn't actually been on. It hasn't actually been in a theatre yet. Mm-hmm. I think they're still waiting for backing for that, because it takes a lot of money to put a show on. Yeah. And as I said, I'm not wealthy anyway. But it's all there waiting to go. It just needs somebody to. They're in. Mark, like I say, my manager Mark is in talks with people to get it on the road. So hopefully it will happen.
It'll see the light of day soon, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, my book. I was pleased when my book came out. It was because I didn't want it to be like a show, a book all about show business. I wanted it to be a book about my life, because when I wrote it, I had no intentions of having it published. I just thought I want to write my life down, and for my kids when they grow up, for my grandkids, so they can know what my life was. And it was actually my neighbour at the time who helped me with it. I wrote it all myself, and he helped me with it. And then they took it to a book publishers, and obviously because I'm not a writer, the guy had to help me write it in proper book form. So he was fabulous. He helped me with that. And then it was published, and I was thrilled to bits that, but like I say in the beginning, that was not my idea. I just wanted to write my life down, because I thought it was interesting. To me it was interesting, and I thought for my grandkids it would be interesting as well. But I didn't want it to be just about show business, because show business was a massive part of my life, and a wonderful part of my life. But I had the other parts of my life were wonderful as well, some good, some bad. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to write that as well. I thought, I can't write my life story without writing about my life,
Yeah.
So I wrote about all my life, show business as well.
And did you find that hard, being so sort of like digging deep into situations that you probably would have preferred to have buried long ago, and then just resurrecting them all to talk about? Was that difficult process?
Well, yeah, but that was my choice, you see, because when I decided to write it, I thought, I'm going to write about all. I'm going to write all the bad bits that happened and all the good bits, and I wrote, and that's what I did. And the hard part really wasn't writing it. The hard part was reading it back.
Yeah.
You know, reading the book like a person just reading it as a book. That was hard. It was like, I don't know. I mean, it was quite cathartic as well, but it was hard to read because there were some bits in it that were quite emotional, you know. And also it was hard because my sisters, I told my sisters, I'm talking about the bit with my dad now. I told my sisters about that, so they knew that was in it before it came out, but a lot of other people obviously didn't. And it was hard for them to come to terms with what I'd written.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I did TV interviews and people asked me about it, and I was just honest. I said, there's probably people who don't believe me, but I said, that doesn't matter to me because I know it's the truth. You know, I've written everything in my book is the truth. And so it was, I was glad I did it, yeah. It was hard. I haven't read it since. I only read it once. I haven't read it back since. Maybe I will again one day, I don't know. And also, that was the same as when Mark decided, you know, to try and put it into a musical form. Because he kept sending me little snippets and saying, okay, so we've written scene 1, act 1, blah, blah, blah. And I kept sending it back saying, no, my mum wouldn't say that, my dad wouldn't say that, that wasn't what happened, we didn't talk like that, you know. And he kept doing this, and I kept saying to him, Mark, if you keep doing this, if you keep sending me these things, I am just going to keep sending them back and saying no, and this is never going to get written. I said, you need to do this without me. Because I think, you know, to sit there and have your life portrayed in front of you on a stage, it's especially because they had to change some of it, you know, to fit the stage. They had to change some of the dialogue from the book. And so when he was sending it to me, I thought, no, I didn't say that. That's not in my book. That's not how I said it in my book. And he said, I know, but we can't put that on stage. It doesn't come across, you know. So I just said, okay, well, you do the stage, and I'll just come and see it when it's done, maybe.
Yeah, yes, maybe, if you can face it. It's an odd thing. It's very difficult, isn't it? Because it's the interpretation of your life rather than exactly what happened, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it, exactly. When I wrote the book, it was I wrote it as how I wrote, you know. But then when somebody's writing it into, I mean, I bet people who've had stories written about their lives probably will feel the same, you know. To see it on the screen or to see it on the stage, there's certain things that would have to be changed that in a book is fine, but you can't bring it onto the stage. It doesn't work.
That's right.
You know, so I reckon that, it
has to be changed slightly for that particular medium, doesn't it? And
yeah, that's right. So, and I mean, I really trust Mark, and he said to me, I would never put anything in that, you know, I'm taking everything from your book that's in your book, and maybe the odd word might change or even an expression or something, because, like I say, the way it is in the book doesn't come across unless you change it for the stage, for that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's that interpretation, isn't it? Yeah, tricky.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quite a difficult thing for you to watch, isn't it, when it finally comes out? And you're going to have to, really, aren't you, Anne? Let's be honest. You're going to have to see it once to at least go, that's okay.
If it does come out, I hope it does come out. You know, it'd be lovely. And, definitely I would go and see it, but how I feel. You know, do you know what I mean? I'd be so nervous before it, before it started. I'd be thinking, oh my God, what's this going to be like?
Oh yeah.
But you know, I trust Mark, and I know there wouldn't be anything in it that I would be absolute. There might be a few things where I might go, oh God, you know, that doesn't sound like my mum, or that doesn't sound like my dad, but I know there would be nothing in it that I would be absolutely distraught about. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. So that's good. That's good that you can trust him to do that, you know, and get the authentic situation that you need to be able to portray, because, you know, you've got an amazing story and it needs to be out there, doesn't it? It does.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I've been sent from Mark a track of yours, which is absolutely beautiful, that I'm going to play, which is A Different Kind of Courage.
Oh, right,
Oh, and
beautiful. That's Terry wrote that, Terry Bradford. Well, he wrote all the music, but that was one of his particular beautiful ones, yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, when I was recording it, I remember thinking, I had a point where I thought, I don't know if I can carry on with this because it was really emotional. It wasn't making me sad. It was just very, very emotional. And there was a point where I had to have a break and say, we'll have to try again tomorrow because I don't know if I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was written for around the time when I had my cancer in year 2000. And so in the book where I write about having the cancer, in the play, he's written this beautiful song which is more or less telling how I feel when I learned that I had the cancer.
Yeah.
And it's called A Different Kind of Courage. It's beautiful.
All around me, everything is changing, and all I touch seems to fall apart. How can so much go wrong when I'm trying to be strong? With my faith, I'm holding on to sanity. This shows no discrimination. I'm so scared of what it's gonna do to me. There's no sense in asking why when I'm afraid of the reply, 'cause I know I can't deny what's going on. I accept the chain is breaking, my strength is going too. I gotta learn to trust again, I don't know how. You're the only one to turn to, 'cause crying doesn't help. It's a different kind of courage I need now. It's hard to deal with endless complications. I never seem to know just where I stand, and my mind so suddenly has become the enemy, and the demons inside of me won't go away. Oh, I accept my heart is breaking, perhaps my spirit too. I gotta learn to start again somehow. You're the only one to turn to, 'cause anger doesn't help. It's a different kind of courage I need now. You're the only one to turn to, 'cause giving in won't help. It's a different kind of courage I need now.
Hi, I'm Anne Nolan, and you're listening to Cat Tales.
Oh, it is a beautiful song, and I know exactly what you mean when you say that you needed to have a break from singing it, because even just watching it, it was making me think about certain situations, and it was triggering those emotions in me, and I was welling up, and I'm sure that has an effect on lots of different people for different reasons, and very special.
Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, it's not about cancer. It's about having courage to go through something that you're going through, at any particular time, really.
Yeah,
it's a really lovely song.
Absolutely. Obviously, you're in good health now, which is great, isn't it? It was, 18, 19 years ago since you had that incident?
20 years ago, yeah.
20 ago. Time flies, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Which is amazing.
Yeah.
That's good. And I know you do support the cancer charities, in respect of that.
My big charity that I support is Alzheimer's, because... my mum, I was an ambassador for the Alzheimer's Society because my mum had Alzheimer's and it was the most horrendous thing to go through with. Well, I mean, she didn't know anything about it really, but for her family, it was horrendous.
Yes.
Shocking. It's a dreadful disease. Yeah,
it is.
But yeah, we're also very, very. Particularly my sister Linda, she supports loads of breast cancer charities.
Yeah, and that makes sense, doesn't it? From yourself and obviously Bernie and your family and whatever, and that risk and that. But we've got all very maudling now, haven't we? So let's bring it up. So what else have you been working on then, Anne? Just to round it all off, to tell me what good things you've been working on.
At the moment, well, to be honest with you, because of being on lockdown, there's nothing much happening at the moment, to be perfectly honest. So, so you'll have to get back to me on that later.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? It's made us all sort of like stop and think about things, hasn't it? Which may be a good thing, and it may be a bad thing. We will see.
Well, I think some parts of it are great. You know, kids are seeing their parents a lot more than they would normally see them. You know, families just being together a lot more. Looking on the bright side of it, of course, not the dreadful, there's also the dreadful side, but on the good side of it, people are being nicer to each other, you know, and they're being more courteous, more generous, you know, all of that. And hopefully that will continue when we come through this, which we will. Hopefully people will continue to be nice to each other. I hope so.
Oh, I think so, and I think the planet is going to breathe a sigh of relief as well, which can't be a bad thing,
I think
can
so.
it?
No. Even our sea at Blackpool is beginning to look blue now.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah.
That's a first, isn't it?
Funny. Yeah. Some of it is nice, you know. You can get up in the morning and you don't have to worry about putting makeup on, or you don't even have to get dressed if you don't want to, you know. It's good. Some of it's really good, yeah.
I'll let you into a secret. I'm sitting here in my underwear. No, I'm not really.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it?
But it could be. That's a great thing.
It doesn't matter.
No makeup. My hair's not done, and I'm sitting here in my underwear. Oh dear, that's not good. That's not good. Oh dear. Oh, do you know, Anne, it's been lovely speaking to you again. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Brilliant. Thank you, Kat.
All right.
Thanks very much. Take care now. Bye.
And you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Cat Tales. To listen again to this and other tales, go to cattales.co.uk.